Hey, what's up tankers? Buckskin Snuggy here with a quick tank review on the T-34 Tier 8 Premium American tank. This tank is quite a beast. Essentially, if you look closely though at the chassis and the turret, it pretty much resembles the T-29. It's basically a T-29 on steroids. If we take a quick look at the armor here, 102 in the front, 76 on the sides, and 51 in the rear end. So if you think about it, it's basically got a tier 7 chassis. Because it's a tier 8 standard matchmaking tank, you will see tier 10s with this. So you really got to kind of switch up your playstyle. You can't really get too aggressive with this tank. Getting hull down is always amazing because if you look at the turret armor, 279 in the front, 127 on the sides, and surprisingly enough, 203 on the back end of the turret. And if you take a quick peek here at the T-29, you'll notice it's pretty much exactly the same other than the rear turret armor. So if you have played the T-29, you can kind of get familiar with the playstyle of this tank. One thing I'd like to talk about though with this tank is the gun. The gun is absolutely amazing. Essentially it's a tier 9 gun, and we'll take a quick look at the penetration value here. Let's see, the standard shells are 248. In my opinion, for a tier 8 tank, that is amazing. You could basically tear through the upper hull of any Tiger 2. You could smash through IS-3s almost no problem, you know, but like I said, you will be fighting tier 10s and tier 9s with this tank, so you do kind of have to really place your shots when you get into the high tier matches like that. The reload time is pretty bad, 4 rounds a minute, right? So basically you're looking at 15 seconds a shot. You know, it's pretty hard to carry your team with that, but if you are in a sniper position with this tank, you could really put in some work and get some big numbers. Like if you look at the alpha damage, 400 a shot is really nice. The accuracy is fairly reliable at 0.34. It's not really too bad whatsoever. The main problem though is the aim time. The aim time is really bad with this tank at 3.4 seconds. That's a little bit tricky to work with. The gun traverse is at 18. You know, it's not really good whatsoever. That's actually pretty slow. Same with the turret traverse, or no, sorry, the chassis traverse for the hull of your tank is 22 degrees. That's also pretty slow. So when I am turning to shoot guys, you know, at my right or left hand side, sometimes I'll have to swing the tank while I'm turning the turret at the same time, and that really kind of helps it out. The view range is pretty bad with this tank. You don't really want to be up too far in the front of the lines trying to snipe with this tank. It's more or less of a support tank in its playstyle. 360, that's pretty bad. There's a lot of tier 8 mediums out there that have 400 view range, and they will be outspotting you all the time, mainly too because you are a heavy tank, and heavy tanks are more prone to be outscouted by medium tanks or light tanks, you know, because they have a higher camo value. Okay, so let's talk about the engine here. The engine's pretty reliable, 810. That's you get some pretty good power to weight ratio with this tank. The top speed is 35 kilometers an hour, so it's not really slow, it's nothing special, but it's enough to keep you up there, you know, when you want to try to be chasing some ground and keeping up with your buddies. Okay, basically, yeah, with this tank, you know, I wouldn't really recommend brawling with it whatsoever. Like I said, that armor's pretty soft. 76 millimeters of side armor, though, that's somewhat reliable to side scrape with it. You know, if you could get around a corner and kind of have your sides peeking out just a little bit like that, a lot of shells will be bouncing off of you, and your tracks will eat a lot of shells. One thing I noticed with this, though, when people are hull down with their tank and they're firing, they tend to keep their turret pointed directly at the enemy, and I find that to be very strange because if you look at the top of this tank, you'll notice that it's a really huge commander's hatch, and honestly, whenever I'm reloading in between shells, I like to kind of wiggle my turret back and forth, right? Because you can see it's a long turret, right? And where it's going to be turning is kind of up towards the front of the turret, so the ass end of the turret kind of sways a little bit back and forth, you know what I mean? It'll wiggle, and if you could get a good wiggle going on in between shells, you could really make it a lot more difficult for people to be penetrating that commander's hatch. Okay, For consumables, let's see what I got here. Standard shells, because the penetration is extremely high, you don't really be needing to be bringing any premium shells. You know, I do bring 4 just in case I ever get caught in a jam. As I've said before in previous videos, I'm not really one to be spamming high explosives. You know, I kind of tend to use them for kill shots, so I only bring 2 of those. Because it's a premium tank and you make a buttload of silver with it, I prefer to bring the large first aids, the large repair kit, and the auto fire extinguisher. Those passive boosts are always nice. You know, 30% to your crew always helps out, and 10% repair speed. You know, you can't really go wrong with that. For equipment, I would definitely go with vents, right? Because that helps with your aim time, your accuracy, the what is it? The fucking the camo value. A lot of people actually don't really know, but improved ventilation helps your camo value for every single tank in the game. But yeah, let's see. The vertical stabilizer is a must. I would highly recommend that because, like I said, the aim time for this tank is 3.4 seconds, and the circle, the reticle, can get really massive when you're on the move. So anytime you could cut that down, that would always be a huge benefit. And as I was saying in regards to the reload time, the large caliber tank gun rammer is always effective with this because you really want to be cutting down that reload time as much as you possibly can. Like I said, it's kind of hard to carry a team even in tier 8s with this tank based on the reload time, but the fact that you could be doing 400 damage a shot, that is really nice. You can get some high rolls up to about almost 500 a shot, and you could really put a hurt on some people. For skills and perks, as always, I would prefer to go with Brothers in Arms. Repairs. Mentor is good because it's a premium tank. Sixth Sense is definitely a must. The only reason why I have camo on this one actually is because I swapped this in between my medium tank and my heavy tank here. Snapshot and Smooth Ride, most definitely a must. Like I said before, you really want to cut down that aim time as much as possible. Clutch braking is really effective for this tank just because it turns like a yacht. Off-road driving, I like to keep that on here more or less too, just to help out with the acceleration. You know, you want to be hitting that top speed as much as you can to get some good ground, get into positions where you can get hauled down. But yeah, honestly, this is a brute of a tier 8 heavy tank. Its gun is amazing. You know what I mean? The turret, it's amazing. There's a lot of people that are gonna really struggle fighting you when you're hull down in this tank. But yeah, it's about enough for me to say on this tank. Let's get into some gameplay and see if we can kick some ass. Okay, well, I got myself into a tier 10 match here, so right away I figured I'd try to play a little bit conservatively. Didn't want to get really too ballsy. I'm running against some pretty big tanks, some pretty big guns here, so figured I'd try to make a quick dash up to the around, let's see, what is that, C7 area? I like going there when I've got a good reliable turret, because I know I can get hulled down. Seemed to be a pretty fair spread on our team. Quite a few guys were heading south. I was really hoping some of these guys would have posted up around close to our flag there on that ridge, get some sniper support. Noticed that mainly 3 of our heavies were heading up the mountain. We pretty much had no eyes whatsoever over here to the left, so I kind of figured I'd make a mad dash over here and see what I could spot. It's a little bit risky and a little bit foolish kind of going out here by myself, but like I said, I was really hoping that one TD sitting on our flag there would help me with support fire. Alright, quickly notice I'm detected. Backed up just a little bit. Not really too sure what I was running up against, so I didn't really want to charge out there too fast. whatever the hell it was. It has a decent camo value. Mind you, the view range of this tank isn't really anything too great. 360 is just, it's kind of lacking. And quick shot on the board sig. The only reason why I was able to detect him, I believe, was because he fired. And I actually think it might have been one of the other heavies that spotted him. And somebody else still has me hard scoped. Not really too sure who it was.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
I was a little shocked I bounced off the lower end of that E4. Got a good lucky blind shot on him. Figured I'd commit with that shot just because I knew he was still sitting there. But I'm guessing he was sitting in the same spot so long that he might have had a camo net and it just kicked in.
Target acquired. Target unlocked.
Another great shot on the commander's hatch of that E4.
Nice shot.
You can see me trying to wiggle my turret just to kind of make that commander's hatch be a harder target to hit for anybody, but actually ended up getting punched through my lower plate, I believe, somewhere on my chassis. Stick still trying to take pot shots at me. Now that is an amazing little tank destroyer. Highest camo value in the game. For a tank destroyer, mind you. Still kind of hard scoped in the same area in hopes that maybe he's still sitting there. As you can see, he's just a little bit low, so I figured to try to displace. Come up over here, take a quick look on the left, realize that I'm quickly spotted, and no, that shut that idea down real quick. Gotta love that sixth sense for saving my ass. Figured I'd try to make a quick mad dash over here. Ended up taking a pretty bad hit for this. From 997, bam, down to 451. So yeah, that really hurt. Was thinking of going back and trying to take a look while that person was reloading, but quickly realized that no, I don't think I want to eat another shell like that. Now this, I honestly thought I was done for. This guy could have came by, ate me alive. I foolishly missed the shell. RNG was totally kicking my ass there. And sure enough, the teammates really saved me. And I was lucky with that last bounce shot too. He hit me on my upper plate, but me pulling back just enough, my armor was angled enough on my upper plate where the shell actually rickied off. That was another shot I was extremely disappointed with. I thought for sure that was going to connect with his lower plate. As you can see, something around F5 was still shooting me. At the time I had no idea what it was, but I knew it packed a punch, so I had to be a little bit careful. Totally do not have the gun depression to pull that off. This tank does have great gun depression, mind you, like any other American tank, but figured I'd reposition a little bit here and try to get to some better ground. Those little sand dunes, I always hit those goddamn things. And once again, detected, still totally puzzled, not really too sure what's spotting me. Had a quick peek to see if it was the heavy down low there, but realized he was on the other side of that ridge. And still, once again, completely detected. So I know my sixth sense is going off, so that means he doesn't exactly have me in his crosshairs. I'm just up on the enemy minimap, but right there when the word detected shows up, that's how you know when somebody has you in their crosshairs. That's when you definitely want to pull back a little bit, try to get to some safe ground, and bam, there we go. And judging by the reticle on the top, I could get a general idea of where he hit me from. I was hoping that I could maybe get a blind shot, and right there, Borsig, he took out my track. So he's up there somewhere, but I'm just not really too sure. I thought he was maybe right there, thought I could maybe crack him one with a blind shot. I have pulled it off many times before with other tanks. But yeah, that was a complete fail. And because this tank is kind of a sniper support role, you can see I'm trying to play pretty conservatively here right now, not to mention I'm on death's door, so don't really want to get too ballsy. That mini waffle, he could have finished me off in one shot, but luckily enough he was spotted. He withdrew. Quickly realized there's the Borsig. The one thing I love about the giant mini-map on the bottom right-hand corner that really helps me out, I prefer that over the radar any day. And once I noticed that Borsig actually dipped back, I was like, okay, well, you know what? These guys are on our flag, the enemy flag. They pushed up far enough to know that it's completely naked up there. Nobody's up there. It's a safe shot for me to cruise over here and try to help. And this little ridge up here is a good little spot to kind of get hulled down, because I have the gun depression to pull it off too. It's a pretty effective little spot. Mind you, this has been a rather slow game for the T-34. Sorry if you're not really enjoying this. But I just kind of want to show how effective this tank can be. Right in the side of the turret. It was a good roll. Accuracy is pretty reliable in this tank. It's just the aim time that makes it really bad. Boom. Good smash right through his plate. Reliable 248 pen. You gotta love that. See, I can creep up just enough with the gun depression to basically have my lower hull covered, right? And then all he has to shoot at is my turret. And, you know, like mentioned earlier in the video, the turret armor is absolutely beast. Right here, bam, that's where you see the gun depression really comes into play. He wouldn't have a chance to hurt me. All that guy could see was my frontal turret, and the angle of how low he was, he couldn't have smashed my commander's hatch if his life depended on it. Bam! Good solid shot. A total low roll though, for the fact that that was only 3-something, low 300s. But it was enough to ring his bell, that's for sure. So he quickly goes back into cover. And right there, I'm detected. What the hell? Okay, there's two guys on the mini-map here. I know where the Conqueror is. I see where that other TD is. Quickly have a look here, see what I'm dealing with. Uh-oh, it's an E3. Realized it was an E3. Thought to myself, okay, time to play a little bit conservatively. There's the E3. Wasn't sure if he was looking right at me. Throw a shout out to the waffle. Nice. M103 takes out the Conqueror. Oh no, the Borsig, mind you. Sorry, the Borsig is down. Conqueror eats a shell. Figured I'd take a quick look at the E3. Now, shooting that commander's hatch on the E3, I rarely ever do pen that, but because of the way he was angled, I found it hard to believe that I'd actually be able to pen his side. The side armor, mind you, on the E3 is pretty soft. I probably should have attempted that instead. He quickly turned. Tracks basically ate my shell. And this is where I'm kind of bummed out by the reload time. If I was able to reload faster, I would have been able to get him sooner or later, but patiently wait, hopefully that he would cross the building, and sure enough, one right in the ass. Gotta love that. Put it right in his paper. Okay, so Conqueror's alive. Still in the same position. And loving this hull down area, so I didn't really want to move right away, but I was like, you know what, honestly, okay, time for me to get a move on here. There's one enemy tank. Gotta see if I could put some work in. Would love to have gotten that kill shot. kind of a goofy spot for me to cruise up. I wasn't really thinking about that at the time. As you can see, I'm just struggling to get up there. And a great shot by the Waffle. He sealed the deal on the win. So it wasn't exactly a spectacular match, but honestly, for a tier 10 match, that's pretty damn good. You know, being undergunned with a lot of these tanks, you know, if you're a tier 8 in a tier 10 match, it can be really tricky, but if you're playing a tank like this where you practically have a tier 9, tier 10 gun, you could really put some work in, and as you could see, because I played a fairly mediocre match, it's really easy for a lower tier tank to get MVP. And as you could tell too, you know, it raked in a lot of silver. But yeah, that's my quick review of the T-34. It's a good, solid, all-around premium tank. I would recommend playing it as a sniper. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already and hit that like button to show some support.